and Americans can't seem to hear it enough. Bob McNamara reports on a call for help that's catching on.
From Fargo to Fort Worth, it's on the air.
By popular demand, here's Power Source one more time, and Dear Mr. Jesus.
It's the country's hottest hit, a little girl's heart-tugging plea against child abuse, a song about police arresting parents, a child beaten black and blue, some almost chilling lyrics.
Please don't tell my daddy, but my mommy hits me too.
I've been in the music business in radio for 25 years, and I've never, ever seen anything like this.
Today, radio stations can't play Dear Mr. Jesus enough. In Los Angeles, the three most requested singers are
Madonna, Whitney Houston, and some 9-year-old girl named Sharon Batts from Texas.
The words are being sung by then 6-year-old Sharon Batts. Tonight, the song's writer, Richard Klender, told me he thought that only a child's delicate voice would be heard.
They talk about the truth, and here's the truth that we need to listen to. And who better to listen to than a young child?
People are listening all over the country.
I think a child can listen to the lyric and get one thing, the simplicity of it, and an adult knows the pain and the depth that goes behind it.
Listeners even hear child abusers confess on the air.
There's just no possible way you could ever play it enough. I've just never heard a song that's touched me as much as this one did.
The little girl singing radio's latest phenomenon is now signing autographs. Sharon Batts of Bedford, Texas. Not an abused child herself, Sharon Batts recorded the song 3 years ago when she was 6, but only gospel stations played it until this fall.
I guess they just didn't have the vision for the response. I mean, who of us did? I didn't either.
But sudden success hasn't changed Sharon Batts' plans for what she wants to be grown up.
I might be an artist because I like art, a marine scientist, singer, piano player.
Today, the song is number 63 on Billboard magazine's Hot 100 chart, up almost 20 points from last week.
This song has broken every rule that you can break in radio. I mean, first of all, you don't get played if you got a child's record. Second off, it says anything about Jesus or God, you know, usually it's not going to be accepted. And the fact that it wasn't on a major label, it had everything going against it, and that's why I see a Christmas miracle for kids.
Record industry experts saying success is due partly to the holiday season and the recent case of a 6-year-old New York City girl allegedly beaten to death by her adoptive parents.
The radio stations are being swamped with thousands of calls a day to hear Sharon's song and to get help.
I just want to thank you guys and KSCS for having the heart and the soul to play that song, because so many people do not understand. So many children don't understand what they're going through.
We did not expect anything like the response we've had. The phone lines, we were getting 500 and 600 phone calls a day from people asking, you know, when are you going to play it again? I want a copy. So we took it upon ourselves to go out and get copies of the album, because the folks that produced it had no real distribution source. We took copies of it and started selling them on the air, and then took what would normally be our profit, turned that into Odyssey Harbor, which is a home for abused kids.
I asked Richard to write or choose for our program the songs that we need. And he's really very gifted of the Lord, because he can hand back to me exactly what I'm looking for in the way of a song. And he is very sensitive to the needs of children and things.
During this past Christmas season, the country latched on to another very powerful message song. This time, the message was about child abuse, and here to tell us why Dear Mr. Jesus was written and what the Americans today are saying about it is songwriter from Thousand Oaks, California, Richard Klender. This defies every rule, or I guess, in radio, doesn't it?
Broke all rules. First of all, had a Christian message as well as a society message, and the fact that there was no promotion dollars put behind this thing, and the people made it a hit.
Yeah, why do you think the reaction has been so strong?
I think the time of the year was very important. I think there's so much going on in the news today. So a song like this becomes an anthem of some way to let out pain, because everyone I talked to said, the song made me cry. And I said, good, because tears let out pain. Mm-hmm. People think, oh, it's so sad, but they're letting out that pain.
We've got a couple of letters here, Richard, if you'd share them with us. These are letters that came to you as a result of someone either hearing the song and or seeing the video.
This is from a lady who was abused during her childhood. It says, I'll just read a portion. It says, I was sexually abused by my grandfather. In fact, I don't remember the first time. That's how young I was. I can remember back to the age 6, though, and from that time on, it was a daily habit for my grandfather to do his thing to me until I was 11. She didn't tell anybody until she was 25 years old. In 20 years, she held that pain inside. This, I think, is real positive. Here's a letter from a police captain or a policeman in Cleveland area. It said, today after I came home from a long trying day of routine police work, one case of child abuse, exhausted, puzzled as to why so much crime involving child abuse is on the upswing. I turned on the television and tuned into the video, Dear Mr. Jesus. I watched the tape and heard the words, and tears came streaming down my face. I see so much of this child abuse. These kids, they cannot defend themselves. They are so confused, afraid, and yet loyal to the person committing the abuse. Please send me your information. I will immediately begin showing this video to those arrested for child abuse.
All right, Richard. Here's the reason for all the comments and certainly the letters. It's a videotape. It features a young lady who is 8 years old. Her name is Sharon Batts. And here is Dear Mr. Jesus.